Hi, welcome to the Bony Pony. My name is Lee and I'm going to be showing you how to fit Western boots. So one of the things you want to look for when trying to get that great fitting boot that you'll be able to either go dancing in, or maybe you're out on the town just going out for dinner, or perhaps you're going to be using your boots for working in the yard or riding. There are several things that you want to look for to make sure that you get that great fit every time. If you're someone that has a high arch, you're going to want to look for a boot that has a much taller instep. For example, when you're looking, you'll see here in the profile that the instep is going to allow for a much higher arch. You have a little bit more width here to help support that as well. So this would be something that you'd want to keep in mind if that's your goal. So if you're someone that has more of a flat foot or you don't have a high instep, you would be comfortable in something with a much lower profile instep. This is going to be more comfortable because you're going to want to feel that nice gentle hug when you have your boot on your foot. You're not going to want to have so much height away from your top of your foot, otherwise that's not going to be so comfortable. So now, what if you have a wider foot? Well, we have boots for that too. So you're going to want to look for something that is going to give you much more room across the width of your foot. You're also going to want to have a taller instep because when you're fitting your foot in there, you want to have plenty of room to not feel like you're being squeezed. So something like this would be comfortable versus something here, where if you just look at the difference, you can see this one on this side is going to have a much more narrow profile versus this one. So if you have a narrower foot, this will be much more comfortable than this. This would allow your foot to move around and swim too much. Now, what about us ladies that have wider calves, you ask? Well, you're going to want to avoid a boot that's tall like this with no indentation. Is going to make it much more challenging to fit your calf. It's going to give that slouchy look and not be as comfortable. Instead, you're going to want something that has a wide, deep V. This boot is going to allow you to get your foot in. It'll give your calf a lot more room and space. The leather, it will move much more freely with you and all around give you a much more comfortable, supported feel. So with that in mind, for those of us with wider calves, having a boot that has a lower profile, not as tall, is going to be much more comfortable. And again, you really want to look for that deeper V. If you want something that's going to break in right away, you're going to want to look for something like an ostrich leather or like a deer tan leather. So something along this line. It's not going to be as stiff. It's going to help mold to your foot right away and be just easier to start using your boot right away. All right, come with me. I'll show you how to fit a boot. I picked an ostrich boot. One, I wanted to have a boot that will break in right away for me. I didn't want to have to, wait for that break-in time. I also have a narrow calf, so I picked a taller shaft, which is a little bit of a V. And then I also have a slightly higher arch, so I picked a boot too that has a little bit more room in the instep for me. So when putting on the boot, I'm going to use the loops at the top. This will help me get a good grip on the boot when putting my foot in. And as I'm putting my foot in, I want to have kind of a nice, firm, snug feel. I don't want it to be just a quick, easy in the boot. That'll mean that the boot is probably a little too big for me. So for me, I'm going to kind of slide my foot in. I'm going to feel kind of a solid thump as I get my foot in there. I'm also going to notice that it's going to feel like a nice, snug hug. I don't have too much room. The leather is touching every part of my foot, and I don't have any gap in between the top of my foot and the instep here. I also can feel that I have a slight heel lift. This is going to allow my foot to have that freedom of movement without feeling too sloppy or too pinched or tight. Well, thank you for watching. I hope you learned a little something, and we look forward to hopefully seeing you in our store.